Good day everyone. We are going to discuss about the 7 elements of visual arts.
So, before we go our main topic, let me first define what is visual arts. So, when we say visual arts, it is the arts that meet the eye and evoke an emotion through an expression of skills and imagination. So, those medium in arts that can be seen and occupied space is consists of visual arts. So, there are artists of visual arts create an art forms or artwork such as ceramic, drawings, paintings, design, craft, photography, or etc. That is primarily visual in nature. So, in visual arts, it has 7 elements of visual arts, the building blocks of arts and design. So, those 7 elements of visual arts, such as line, shape, color, form, value, texture, space, is a part of creating of and composing of the artworks that in any aspects can be seen in visual arts. So what are the elements of arts? The elements of arts are the tools that artists use to make an art. There are 7 elements. First is line. A line is a path that a point takes through space. Lines can be tanked, then dotted or solid. They can make straight movements, zigzag waves, or curls. So try to look around you and you notice na biskang asa mo mutan ang makakita mog lines like sa inyong notebook, cellphone, or sa imong body has on lines. 5 types of lines. So first is horizontal lines. Horizontal lines are generally restful like the horizon where the sky meets the land. So example is pareha aning land makita nimong naka-horizontal. Second is a vertical lines. Vertical lines so they may seem inspirational like tall, majestic trees or church slips. So example ani is parihaan ng punuan, simbahan or kanang tower gani sa Paris. Kanang nasa Next as diagonal lines. This suggests decay or shows like lightning or falling trees. So, ang diagonal lines kay mo ni siyang maka-distract sa atua parehaan ng kidlat or falling trees. Curved lines. The artist Carlos Butong Francisco Moral depicts a woman body in bamboo stems, symbolizing the spring and Philippines legends with restrained curved lines expressing grace, subtleness, direction, and flexibility. So, ang example ani is kanang nindot og lawas na mga babae makita ninyo nga curved lines sa ilahang body. So last is croc or jog lines. Lines in painting can express energy, violence, conflict, and struggle. They can be divided into 3 groups: repetition, contrast, and transitional lines. Repetition occurs when drawn within a corner. Contrast occurs when drawn in opposition, and transitional lines soften the effects of others. So, mao na siyang example nga kanang nasa picture. So, lines can convey emotion as well. They may show excitement, anger, calmness, tensions, happiness, and many others feelings. Because of these, some are said to be expressive. So, example, ani is pareha anang nagsulata, di ba mamali man ta. So, dira na to ma-express ang line through our emotion. So, lines tend to be found in nature and are very organic. Other lines that are very measured, geometric, directional, and angular are called constructive lines. So, constructive lines, they tend to appear to be man-made because of their precisions. Pareha dat di ba ginatudloan man ta sa atong teacher nga makahimo or makabuo og perfect line. So, try and try nga ma-perfect jud ang line by making different artwork. So, I believe that learning line is the most wonderful things that I have learned. The significance of lines is everywhere. Second is the color. Color is a basic element of art that involves light and is produced when light wavelength strike an object and are reflected into our eyes. Each light wave has a distinct color. Objects appear to be different colors because some wavelengths are absorbed while others are reflected or transmitted. Three properties of colors. First is hue, refers to the dominant color family and refers to the origin of the colors we can see. So example as yellow, orange, violet, green, blue, or etc. are considered as hue. Second is intensity. Intensity or saturation is the brightness or dullness of a color. So, example is, ang intensity is kanang ang isa ka color na makita nato sa isang color wheel ay nasa buong intensity na tinatawag na brightness or hayag. Then, pag ginahaluan nato siya color black or puti, it becomes dull. Next is value. Value is the lightness or the darkness of a color. Adding a white or black or a new changes in her value adding is created when white is created. So example is kanang nasa picture. Example 1 is kanang white to black, then example 2 is white to light blue to dark blue, then black. Color wheel. Isaac Newton 1666. The color wheel is a useful visual aid used by artists and interior design to understand the relationship between colors. So the color wheel is a circular chart divided into 12 sections with each sector showing a distinct color. Three categories of color. First is primary. Primary is red, yellow, blue. So there is the three color of primary most basic colors on the wheel. Then ang second is secondary, orange, green, purple, or violet. These color are created by Nicol or any true primary colors. Example is red plus yellow, it becomes orange. Then yellow plus blue, it becomes green. Then blue plus red, it becomes violet or purple. Then ikatlo is tertiary. Red, purple, red, orange, green, blue, or yellow, orange. Blue, purple, yellow, then green are color combination you can make from color mixing. Next is shape. Shapes is everything we see around us are shapes. Shapes is object in space. Then, what do we know about shape? So example is kanang nasa picture kanang the table and painting. So this object is so dimensional pattern. This is a serious colorful still life. So sa madaling sabi, ang atong world is composed of variety of shapes. So shapes is a flat enclosed area of an artwork created through lines, textures, colors, or an area enclosed by other shapes such as triangle, circle, and square. Two major types of shapes. First is geometric shapes. Geometric shapes are mathematical and include squares, circles, and triangles. So geometric is a basic shapes. Geometrics is a perfect regular shapes. So example is kanang building and pyramid, then building office. Next is organic shapes. Are irregular as asymmetrical. The shapes is like a human, animals, and trees. So, akong example is kanang clouds, sky, and trees, or house. Either basta kanang nabuo na siya nga. Other example is kanang dahon, flowers, trees, hand, or food, snails, bird, or etc. Basta kanang nabuo na jud siya. Two types of shapes. So first is perspective of shapes. The angles and curves of shapes appear to change depending on our viewpoint. The technique we use to describe this change is called perspective drawing. So example ani is kung unsay nakita nato sa isa ka butang, mao na siya atong viewpoint. Kung unsay nabuo nga shape like sa electric fan na atay makita na shape, so that we call proper perspective or viewpoints. So second is behavioral or shapes. So shapes can be used to control your feelings and the composition of an artwork. Squares and rectangles can portray straight and stability. Circles and ellipses can represent continuous movement. Then triangles can lead the eye in an upward movement. Inverted triangles can create a sense of imbalance and tensions. So, Ang shapes is dili lang siya basta-basta maingon nato nga shapes na pud sila iya-iya nga meaning or backgrounds. So all shapes are two-dimensional, meaning that they have only length and width. So ang geometric is kuan siya kanang dali ra siya ma-identify or ma-recognize. Then ang organic shapes is generally do not have a name associated with them and are typically not man-made. Next is space, is the basic art elements that refers to the distance, emptiness, or areas around between or within shapes, forms, colors, and lines. So shapes can be positive, white or light, or negative, black or dark, open or closed, shadow or deep, and two-dimensional or three-dimensional. So two types of space. So first is positive space, is the area of part the composition that an object or subject occupies. This is usually the main focus of the painting. So, sa madaling sabi, ito ang bahagi ng komposisyon na sinasakop ng isang bagay or paksa. Ito ay may focus na pagkikita. Then, ang negative space is the empty or open space, the surroundings an object. It helps define the object to give it some breathing room to prevent the painting from being bordered and significantly impact how the art is perceived. So, ang negative space ay ito ay ang walang laman o bukas na puwang na pumapaligid sa isang bagay ug maupod ni siya ang nagbibigay pansin para makita ang importansya ng sining. So, the difference of positive and negative. So, ang negative space ay espasyo sa paligid or around the focal point. Then, ang positive naman ay subject or areas of interest in artwork. Why is negative space is so important? It can add interest. It is an excellent way to draw attention of your work of art. A good balance between great negative space and intrigue will cause the viewer to desire more time to look at your work of art. Form an element of art is a shared and three-dimensional and includes volume, includes height, width, length, and depth. So form is a physical value of shapes and space and occupies is a generally sculpture, architecture, paintings, or any trees of pixels. Ug ang form ay isang three-dimensional na figure kumpara sa isang hugis na two-dimensional o flat visual artist na gumagamit ng mga epekto ng haba at anino upang lumikha ng ilusyon ng tatlong dimensional. So, ang three-dimensional form ay can be model or this is can be called the other and can also be carved or that we called objective form and can also be congressive or the bloat form. Two types of form. So first is geometric form, a forms that are mathematical, precise, and can be named as in the basic geometric forms such as sphere, cube, pyramid, cone, and cylinder. So example is a circle becomes sphere, and three-dimensional form, a square becomes cube, a triangle becomes cone, or a pyramid. This is what pertain geometric form. And second is organic form, are those that are free-flowing, curvy, sinewy, and are not symmetrical or easily measurable or named. This most often occur in nature as in the shapes, flowers, branches, leaves, clouds, and etc. So for their understanding, organic forms, they looks natural or in nature. They are irregular and missing flowing and unpredictable. The most obvious example organic forms are realistic of presentation of natural world like anang sa picture nga inyong nakita. So forms and sculptural drawing painting. So first is forms and sculpture. Forms and sculpture is the most closely tied to sculpture since it is a three-dimensional art and has a traditionally consisted almost primarily of form with color and texture being subordinate. So So traditionally, form could be viewed for all science called sculpture is considered as gross presentation a form because it looks like that forms an element visual arts was improved in reality. So forms and sculptures can be categorized and can be open or can be a closed form. Two categories of form. First is open form. Transparent, revealing its structure and therefore has a more fluid and dynamic relationship with the ambient set space. Then second is closed form, related to the form of solid opaque mass event spaces exist within a form. They are contained and confined, has an inward directed focus on the form itself, isolated from the ambience. So, in short, sculptures does not a solidness as considered as open. Sculptures it we have closed or unspace and it also become parts of the artwork. And the other hand, we can call sculpture as closed form with it little a solid, not host and soft pointed. So, form and drawing and painting. The illusion of three-dimensional forms is conveyed through the use of lightning and shadow and the rendering of value and tone. Texture. Texture refers to the surface quality or the feeling of an object. It could be soft, rough, smooth, or etc. Two ways on perceiving texture using our sense, sight and touch. Two types of texture. First is tactile texture. Example ani is leaves, basket, and wall. Even the brush strokes used in a painting can create a textured surface that can be felt and seen. So one of the best example is the painting of Vincent van Gogh. Implied visual textures refers to the textures in art that cannot be felt by touch but which resemblance is instead achieved through the masterful use of artistic tools and materials. Value. Value is the lightness or darkness of tones or colors. In the other words, it is how light or darks given color or who is and can be better understand when they are visualized and scales or gradients. So, for example, is or the amount of light inflected surface other kind in artwork ay ang value if scales form sense naka richness siya form lightness to darkness. So value is more important than color. White is the lightness value, white black is the darkness. Two contrast and value. First is high contrast and low contrast. So value is more important than color to achieve a successful artwork, specifically painting. Then, but value is not only limited to grayscale with only white, different hues of gray and black. Categories of value. First is monochromatic value scales is one color with different values. Mono mean one which explains that you used one color and different values. So, mauna siya ang nasa peak. Then the second is composition of the value. First is tint, adding white in a hue or color. Then second is shade, adding black in a hue or color to be dark and value. Value contrast is where light values were placed next to dark values to create contrast or strong difference. So, value scale is a scale that shows the gradual change in value from the lightest value white to its darkness value black.